really about following a weight loss plan, right? And when I say plan, I don't mean here's your workouts, here's your meals, do this only. When I talk about a plan, I'm talking about something that you're creating to make a lifestyle for you. And that's the key word, you. Because we can see what's going on, what someone's doing over here, what someone's doing over there. And we try to do exactly what they're doing without taking into consideration our unique needs, our body, our goals. We're not going to get the same result, and we're going to get defeated, and then we give up, right? And we can, when we don't have something in place that's truly for us, right, we can give into that emotional eating. We can have what we think is a plan and be consistent, and then life lifes us, and then we can't do maybe the workout we wanted to do, and so it's like, well, forget it, I can't do anything. And then you feel guilty about it, and then you go and grab the Ben and Jerry's, and then we're on the couch eating ice cream, right? Like, stuff happens. And so really this is hitting the 4 key components are really going to help have that roadmap to getting the weight off and keeping it off, no matter what age or stage of life that you're in. So in order to really have that successful plan, you first have to have a plan that's going to work for you, right? And so how do you go about getting that together? And so, but I don't know about you, but I've tried, copying what others have done. And I've done that without really tuning in and really asking, like, Lord, what do you want for me? What does healthy look like for me? And it's really about redefining health for yourself. And what is it that you want to achieve? How do you want to feel? Right? Have you even sat with yourself long enough to really get an image in your mind of what you look like, how you're showing up, how you're presenting yourself, right? The energy that you have and the vivaciousness, like, what is it that you're really wanting? And that's the key component to truly having a successful plan. Is first, you need to know, what do you want? So really going and sitting with yourself and just ask yourself, what do I want? And it's not just like, oh, I want to fit in my jeans, or I want to feel good in my clothes. It's really taking this, peeling it back like an onion, like 5 layers deep, and keep asking yourself, what do I want? Okay, why do I want it? And then why do I want that? Why do I want that? And by the 5th, question you ask yourself of that, you're going to really get down to that, to really that emotional response of what you're really after. Most of us just want to be loved, accepted, seen, feel confident, right, for ourselves. And so really coming down to what you're truly wanting to achieve and why, because that's what's going to keep you going when life gets in the way, when life lifes you, when things get stressful at work or at home. You're going to be anchored in why you're doing what you're doing. And you're going to be able to pivot and have grace for yourself if you can't get that meal prep done, or if you had to go eat out instead of making dinner, or if you planned a 45-minute workout but you only got 5 minutes in, that you're good with that because you're moving the needle forward. So being anchored in, why do you want what you want? And so I want to take you through a little activity to help you with that. So if you have a piece of paper, a pen, something to write with, or even type it on the computer, if you have it available, I want you to take a moment, and we're just going to close our eyes. And we're just going to take a nice deep breath in through the nose, and you're going to hold it. And then I want you just to exhale it out nice and slow. And again, take another inhale, hold at the top. And as you exhale, I want you just to feel all the stress, anything that's negative just on you, just falling off. And on that next inhale, I just want you to see a nice, beautiful light just filling you. And as you exhale, that light just gets brighter and brighter, and you feel lighter and lighter. Okay. And then slowly open your eyes. And I want to ask you this question, and you're going to ask this to yourself, is if you could be anything, do anything, or have anything, what would you want? And I want you to think about this inclusive of your whole life. This is not just about health and fitness or weight. This is truly about, what do you want? And where do you want to see yourself? What do you want to have become, accomplished, or have done in the next 12 months? And I want you to write down at least 3 things. Whatever first comes to mind, don't overthink it. Don't second guess it. There's nothing holding you back from having it. So if money, time were not an issue, what would you want to be, do, or have in the next 12 months? So February 20th, 2025, what do you want to see that you've accomplished or achieved? At least 3 things I want you to write down. Okay, and then we're going to take it down a notch and we're going to think about 6 months from now. So August 20th, 2024. What do you want to have seen change within those 6 months? What do you want to achieve, have done, have received, right? Be, do, have. What, at least 3 things in the next 6 months. What first comes to mind? So by August 2024. I'm gonna give you a few more seconds here, and then we're gonna go and chunk it down even more. And you can definitely obviously add more of these in for sure. But I want you to think about 30 days from now, March 20th. March 20th, 30 days. What do you want to have accomplished, have implemented, have received in 30 days? You're going to look back in March 20th and see, okay, this is what I want to have had. Now, if you take a look back over your list from 1 month, 6 months to 12 months, if you look over all of those, which of those goals that you want to achieve would be made simpler if you were in better health, better shape, had more energy, vitality, vivaciousness? Which of those would be easier to accomplish if you were in prime health? One of them, some of them, all of them? How much does your health and wellness and well-being depend on you achieving those goals that you've written down? This is just more of a rhetorical question, just to kind of, again, get some awareness, you know, because again, if we don't have the energy, physical energy, mental energy, then we're most likely not going to be showing up and putting 100% effort into what we're doing, right? If we don't feel good in or about ourselves, we're most likely not going to show up to do the actions, to take the steps to achieve what we're wanting to achieve, right? We're not showing up the way we want to. And most of us right here are moms, and have families and careers or businesses, and we all have a way that we want to show up. And the question is, are we regularly showing up that way? Do we regularly have the energy to do the things that we want to do? Or are we feeling that we're always falling short? Or if we just had a couple more hours, or I'm just so tired, it's so challenging, right? It's really just becoming aware of where you're at so you know where you're going. Okay, so really step 1 is having that vision. So now you've mapped out some goals that you want to have. And step 2 leads right into that. And this is really having a clear next step to focus on. So anytime you're after a plan, right, when we think about trying to do everything all at once, okay, I got to focus on my food, I got to focus on getting my workouts in, okay, I got to work on my sleep, and all these things we try to do all at once, we get burned out. Right? How many times said, okay, I'll start on Monday, and then Monday comes and it doesn't happen. Or we get so overwhelmed at all the options that we have. We just are like decision fatigue. Like, I don't know, forget it. I'll start next week. Right? Because there's just so much information that we can't decipher it. So we're trying to do it all at once. And so picking one clear step to focus on. And this really comes down to where are you feeling called, right? You've definitely all had some promptings of, maybe we need to cut out late night eating. Maybe we don't need to have that sugar-laden coffee. Maybe we need to be adding some more veggies in, right? Or maybe we need to work on our self-talk. Maybe we need to have some forgiveness work done. Like, it's really just seeking where is that next clear step to focus in on that one area. And so you are not overwhelmed, right? Because we can be good for a few weeks, have that consistency for a couple of weeks or months, and then life happens, right? And you have others that depend on you. You don't feel like you can keep up with what you're doing, so you stop because you don't have a clear plan or a clear focus in place, and have allowed yourself to take baby steps. Baby steps done consistently yield huge results. It's when we try to go 120% for a couple of weeks and then we slam on the brakes and don't do anything, we don't get very far. but daily consistent baby steps in a direction is going to get you to that destination a lot faster, a lot easier, and a lot simpler than trying to do it all at once. So baby steps and one area to focus in on and work on that. And then as you become consistent, right, and it feels easier to do it, it's becoming more of a habit, then we start adding another layer in, right? And then you have the system in place and you can keep layering. And the key here is when you have that clear next step, you want to have a plan of busy days, right? If I'm this busy, okay, my minimum goal is to move for 5 minutes, right? So I get something done. And on your ideal day, this is what your plan is. But on those days that get away from you, you have a commitment to yourself of what that minimum is, right? Bearing a tragedy or something, horrific, obviously. But unless you're having diarrhea on the toilet or you're vomiting, you should be able to move your body daily, do something for yourself daily. And so really sitting down and asking, what's my minimum for movement? What's my minimum for my health? And that could be getting some greens in. That, again, might be you getting up and moving instead of sitting for 6 hours at the computer, right? So think about what your minimum requirement for yourself is. And then on an ideal day, what would you be doing? And again, pick that one area. So if you feel like you already know there's areas that you feel challenged around, pick the top one that you know will domino into the other areas and help those. Right? A lot of people, when they start exercising regularly, then their food falls into place. For others, when they start increasing their water and they get better sleep, they're more apt to have intentional exercise. So again, it's just really looking at what works best for you. And this is pivotal. Inside of the Redefine Health Academy, we talk about baby steps, and that's what we do. We focus on one key area every week and really start practicing it, and then layer and layer and layer. And that way it's achievable, doable. And step 3 is all about nutrition, right? So we have to have a vision. We need to have a plan in place of our action steps in that one area. And then we want to look at nutrition, right? So when it comes to food, most people, I would say, the percentage of at least in the United States, we know what to eat. We know what we should be doing, but are we doing it? And that's the key factor. And it was so fascinating for me to look at, like, why do some get amazing results? They all have the same amount of information. They have the same tools, resources, but some get results, some don't. Why do some keep it off and some don't? And it really comes back to, number one, that vision is identity, really being anchored in who you are and whose you are. Having that identity piece, do you identify as a healthy and fit person? Because a healthy and fit person would be taking specific actions. There's like non-negotiables in their life. They have boundaries in place. And when it comes to food, what we eat matters. And knowing how to eat in a way that's going to give you the energy, to give you the results that you want on a consistent basis, is understanding macronutrients, is understanding what a protein is, what a carb is, and what a fat is. And when we know these things and we're able to plate our food in such a way that we have the energy for our daily activities, that we start seeing the body fat come off, we start seeing our muscles again, and we have energy all day long because our body's getting the nutrients that it needs. And when we start looking at food as fuel instead of a friend, and we take the emotion out of it, it becomes very easy. Second thing when it comes to food is sugar. Processed refined sugar. It's from the pit of hell. It gets you and it doesn't let you go. It's a very addictive substance. You can have literally one bite of something that has processed or refined sugar and you're hooked. Your brain reacts the same as if you were taking heroin or cocaine. So it is extremely addictive, and it's recommended to have less than 25 grams of sugar a day. If you notice on some cereals, different packaged items, you have probably 12 to 15 grams in one serving in just one thing. And so the amount of sugar that Americans consume on a regular basis is a key contributor to obesity, ADD, ADHD, all these things that we have, mental health problems. A lot of it is helped through food, dyes, preservatives. So we want to watch what you're putting in, because sugar, preservatives, dyes, they all change your brain chemistry. Guess what happens? It alters your palate, And then you're mindlessly eating. You're no longer in control of what you're eating. You just mindlessly go for things without realizing. I have so many women says, oh, I eat really good. I eat really clean. And then I have them do a 3-day food log. They're like, oh, I go, girl, I know. I said, because this, and this made you go, woo, like it happens to me. Hello, I'm human. Same thing. I had to be very mindful because I've been on a sugar kick for a while. It's like, oh my gosh, it got me again. And so now it's like, okay, let's remove all this stuff and let's get back to basics again, because it hits you so fast. But the more you're aware of how food affects you physically and mentally, you have a game plan in place of how to work with it and realize, hey, I really don't want that. That's just a chemical imbalance. I'm fine. I just had some yesterday. I don't need it today. And it's really working to coach yourself through. But again, everybody can achieve the weight loss they want. It just is a decision of, are you willing to do the work? And the work really is the mental work, to be honest. It's all mental, and it is easier just to eat whatever you want, right? It's really easier just to eat whatever you want, but is it easier when you don't have your health, when you can't keep up with your kids, when you're constantly in the doctors? And so it's really deciding what hard do you want to choose, and consciously think about what you're putting in. Is this fueling me, or is this going to hinder me? And so you're able to make that decision on your own versus letting your body make it for you. Because when we're addicted to sugar, your body becomes the brain. And your brain's no longer operating. It's operating subconscious and just running on autopilot, right? So having a plan in place, in a meal plan, like I'm not a huge meal prepper. Some of you all may love meal prepping. Awesome. You don't have to. So I want to take that off the plate. Like a lot of you, like Teresa, you got twins and and an older daughter. Like, meal prepping is not always going to be ideal in the season of life that you're in. It's okay. So I will say this, though, having a plan for the meals is pivotal, meaning, okay, we eating out? Are we going to make dinners this week? What days are we going to have dinner? Having a plan of what you're going to have, so you have the foods on hand. So if life gets busy, you at least have something you can toss together and eat, versus hitting the drive-through and getting things that's not going to make you feel very good. Now, there's nothing wrong with eating out. And again, when you understand macros and understand what they are, you know how to plate your food and what you want to get on your plate. So again, you can eat out. Eating out all the time, is it the best for you? No, because you can't control the ingredients and stuff, but you can still eat out, enjoy life, and still lose weight and keep it off. So planning meals, and I do it usually Friday or Saturday, and I sit down and decide, ask the kids what they're wanting, and then put a plan together. Then I go grocery shopping. I always have some extras I buy because I know life will life me. And, my plan might go out the window. So I always have things on hand that I can make quickly. Grabbing a rotisserie chicken, or even getting chicken that's already shredded off the bone, ready to go, throw it in the freezer. So when I need it, I can take it out. Quesadillas, or some chicken and some roasted veggies, like something simple. You don't have to feel like you have to make a 3 or 4 course or 5-course meal. Right? If you love doing that, awesome. We are very simple. I'm a single mama over here, and I've been that way for a long time. And this girl is not going to spend hours in the kitchen because they usually complain anyways. So, I'm all about having my protein, and I will have veggies and fruits. That's basically it. And so I get our protein, we get our carbohydrates, and we usually have some fats. We'll have butter that's mixed in, or olive oil. So we hit all 3 macronutrients. So, and another great way to help with your food plan to keep you on track is when you do cook, make extra, make a double batch. And so you have leftovers for yourself for lunches, or for the rest of the family, or you have extra dinners. So you don't have to cook every single night, right? So I say, keep it simple. I do have a 30+ recipe pack. If anybody wants it, you can definitely send me a DM and just put recipes and send me your email, and I will email that over to you. And it has breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, and it's family friendly. I mean, there's stuff that's simple, on the stuff you can do on the go and have ready in 30 minutes or less. So that's something that if you want, you can definitely get access to that. So I want to break down macros a little bit. We go deeper into this inside the program or in my 5-day workshop, but protein is the building block of muscle. It's going to repair it, and it's going to maintain it. And so our body needs protein. Protein should be the focus of your meals. So we want to be getting 20 to 40 grams of protein per meal. Okay, minimum. Now, I will say, if you're new to macronutrients and tracking, just focus on getting protein in at every meal. Do not try to go get your numbers and try to hit it, because if you're not close to it and you try to get all of it in, your body's not going to be very happy with you. So focus on your protein. Second thing, carbohydrates, they are your body's physical fuel. So fruits, veggies, beans, legumes, rice, pasta, breads, that's all carbohydrates. And so your body needs those. And some are more fibrous, and the fibrous ones are you're gonna be able to eat a lot more of them without having a real caloric impact. Those that are less fibrous or more simple carbohydrates, starches like potatoes, rice, pastas, those are all starches. They're going to hit your bloodstream faster. They're going to spike your insulin, and they are also going to be more calorie dense than nutrient dense. You'll have nutrition for sure in there, but they're going to spike it. Okay, so having a balance of those is great. At night, you want to be mindful of your starchy foods, just because, again, they increase the blood sugar. And if you're not very active at night, you're not going to burn it off. Therefore, it's going to store as body fat. Okay. So fats are your body's, it's not a fuel source. What it does do is helps your brain. So it's more for organ support, and it helps break down other nutrients in your body and deliver it to the proper tissues and organs. So fats play a key role for cognitive as well as focus. Okay, it's going to help all your vital organs. So it is key. We definitely want that. Your fat's going to be twice as calorically dense as your protein and carbohydrates. So fats I like to use when you're on a weight loss or fat loss. I interchange those. When I say weight loss, we're talking about losing body fat, inflammation, water weight. When I say weight loss, that could also include muscle. We don't ever want to lose muscle, because then again, we're going to lower our metabolism. We're also going to put ourselves in a deficit, and we're not going to be able to keep our bodies strong if we're losing muscle. So muscle keeps our metabolism elevated for sure, and our fat burning on. So when it comes to food, you want to focus on whole foods. If you buy anything that's packaged, read your labels. Read your labels, read your labels, and read your labels. Look where it says added sugar. If there's anything more than 5 grams, you should not be purchasing it if it's for your normal diet. Okay. If it's a treat, that's one thing. I would still be mindful of how much you're putting in. Okay. Because again, it's going to have that impact on your brain chemistry. It's probably going to throw you into cravings. So when we eat anything packaged, look at the added sugar. It might have sugar in there, but look at the ingredients then. Is it from a natural source? Is it from fruit? Right? Is it from cane sugar? Is it from coconut sugar, maple syrup, honey? Like, look to see where the sugar's coming from. And also look, can you pronunciate everything on your ingredient list? Right? So the more we are eating whole foods, clean food that we can pronunciate, your body's gonna be able to use that energy better and not try to store it because it doesn't know what to do with it, right? And then if needed, do a detox. And when I say a detox, that means you are omitting processed and refined sugars, fried foods, alcohol, the things that are going to trigger cravings, inflammation, and bloat. So your brain and body chemistry can balance back out. So you can think of people used to do Whole30 used to be big, right? So it's really cutting out all processed foods and drinks, and really going, I guess it's almost Mediterranean. And you're really getting focused. And that's going to really help reset. Even, 3, 5, 7 days, you're going to notice a big change in your mental health, your focus, as well as bloat and the scale going down because inflammation. So those are the key things for your food. Okay, I know there's a lot there. If you guys end up having questions, you can drop them in the chat and I'll definitely come back and answer them before we're done. Step 4, okay, this is the fourth step that's key, is your movement and exercise. So movement, exercise are really 2 different components of your physical fitness. Movement, again, you're moving your body more than you're sitting. If you have a sedentary job or career, being able to get yourself up moving throughout your day. Because even if you exercise and you sit for 6 or 7 hours straight, you're really undoing what you just did. Because you're just sitting, your body's not moving, your circulatory system, like all of it. So getting up like every 45 minutes to an hour, even if you just stood up and sat back down, it resets your body systems. It's better than anything. Okay. So it sounds like, oh, that's it. Yes, that really, Like you can change your whole mental, physical, cognitive state just by getting up. If you're able to go walk downstairs to go use the restroom versus on the same level. So thinking about ways to get movement in and get your steps in. This is called your NEAT activity. It's your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So this is, you can think of a steady state and or just your daily movement. You want to keep this up 7,000 to 10,000 steps. Okay, so unless you're wheelchair bound, you are pretty much able to achieve that. It just, again, takes intentional thought to do it. It comes back to your vision. How do you want to be? Who do you want to be? How do you want to show up? How do you want to feel? And what are those actions that are going to help you do that? Everything we just went through are those actions that you can be taking to achieve that simply and easily. Okay, so movement, again, set yourself a daily goal. What's your daily goal? Right now inside of our group, we're doing a step challenge. It's going, I think, for another 4 days, 4 or 5, yeah, 4 days. And this was, again, challenge yourself. Okay, if I can get easily 6,000 steps, okay, I'm going to challenge myself to get 7,000 now. Right? And so think of simple ways you can do that. You can march in place or dance around when you brush your teeth. You can park further away at the grocery store. You can take stairs versus an elevator. You can plan for a walk first thing in the morning or after lunch or after or before dinner. But after dinner would be great just because it allows your digestive system, lymphatic system to work and burn the calories from dinner. So especially if there was I love potatoes, y'all. So I'm a potato girl. I love potatoes. And so getting out to move after helps burn the starchy carbs, right? So not just going to sit and store as body fat. So that is a big one. I will say, who was it? Daphne, I don't know if it was you saying it or not. There was a comment about having to eat, thinking you have, being in plans where it says you have to eat at a specific time. There is so much research out there that the bottom line to lose weight, you have to be in a calorie deficit. And there's a gazillion ways to be in a calorie deficit, as in different modalities. But basically, right, you have to be burning more than you're consuming. And the way that you do that is through your food intake and your movement. It's that simple. So whether you eat when you first get up, or whether you eat until 10 o'clock at night, or if you do intermittent fasting, or if you just do a 12-hour fast or whatever, it's calories in, calories out. There's different modalities that can be used to support you with that calorie deficit through nutrition, but it has to work for you. I personally do a fast, like 12 hours minimum. No, I shouldn't say that. My goal is to always have at least 12 to 13 hours. Does that always happen? No. PMS time, guess what? I'm on the couch probably eating some chips. Just being honest, right? I love my chips. I told you I love potatoes. And that's my kryptonite, right? And so I try to find ones that are healthier ingredients. They're still a treat, right? But whether I eat that at night or if I eat it for breakfast or I eat it at lunch, it can have a different impact on your blood sugar when you're eating later at night than going to bed, because your body doesn't have time to digest, right? And so it really isn't getting to rest. So there is something to be said about giving yourself a 12-hour window. And that's just a regular fast. That gives your body time to digest the last meal and then have 8 hours of rest, or it's not having to work, right? So having water, black coffee will keep your fast. So nutrient timing works for those who it works for. And if you're going for a bikini competition, bodybuilding competition, you're going to have more strategic and specific modalities like nutrient timing because of what you're trying to accomplish, if that makes sense. Okay, but for everyday athletes like us, I don't recommend eating before you go to bed. You want to try to give yourself at least 2 hours and cut it off before you go to bed so your body, again, can digest the food and then rest. So, and when it comes to exercise, I don't recommend exercising before you go to bed because, again, you're increasing your heart rate, your metabolism, your body's ready to go. It's not going to be able to rest, right? We want to get the heart rate back down, your body being at balance so you can actually have solid rest, because that's where all the repair happens. So what we do in the gym or at home when we work out, it's breaking down the muscle fibers. It's making microfiber tears. Then as we sleep and as we eat, that's where the repair process starts and the muscle is actually built. It's not built in the workouts, it's built in the kitchen, right? So it comes through the rest and restoration where the muscle is built. We break it down during the workouts. So it has to be repaired and built up. So getting your daily movement in, set yourself a goal. Boy, it is really windy here. Like these huge trees are like blowing over here. I'm like, please don't fall this way. And there is many types of exercises you can do. I'm focusing on the key one that if you're after fat loss and you want to keep it off and you want to have not just longevity for your body, but quality of life, it comes down to strength training. Okay, that is picking up some weights and using them. Women are not going to get bulky. We can't get bulky. We don't have enough testosterone that we're taking. So unless you're taking supplements to increase your testosterone levels and you're consuming a god-awful amount of protein, you're not going to get bulky. Okay, so that's a myth. So a successful fat loss plan, right, requires you to burn more than you consume. Like we talked about, strength training is more thermogenic. It's going to burn more than cardiovascular work, right? Cardio is important, but it should not be used as your primary source for fat loss. Okay, it should be that's where I want to use, like complementary. We need it. And there's different types that we can do. So HIIT workouts, high intensity interval training. Okay, think about Tabatas. That's a high intensity. It's like 20 seconds on of work, 10-second recovery. You can do that with weights. You're not jumping everywhere all the time when you're doing HIIT work. The idea is to get the heart rate up and then it comes down slightly and you jack it back up, it comes down slightly, and you give yourself less recovery time. And that requires your cardiovascular system, your heart, to work harder, pump more blood, which takes more energy, i.e. calories and fat, to break down into energy. So strength training, you're going to burn less maybe than you would in a, say, a running session, but you're going to burn more over their whole day, okay? Because it's going to take your body longer to get back to balance. And so it's going to be burning more calories as it gets your heart rate and your circulatory system back to a resting heart rate. Now, there's multiple things. Like I said, HIIT, you can do circuits, you can do supersets, right? And combining these hit all areas of fitness, from balance, strength, endurance, and cardiovascular health. So having a plan in place that hits these different parts of your overall fitness plan is going to be key for the longevity and the sustainability of you keeping that weight off. For any of you who are in your 40s or above, body fat, where it gets stored, is changing. It's really coming down right to the gut, the hips, the thighs, the butt. And we can combat that when we are having the HIIT days and then some strength training days, some steady state days, and we're watching our macros on those days that we are not strength training, because we're not needing as much energy, right? If it's our recovery day and we're going for a hike or a long walk or a jog or a bike ride, we still don't need as many carbohydrates. And we're watching the type we're getting in. We're really hitting more of the fibrous complex carbs that don't have high sugar content, right? Because they're going to be more nutrient dense and less calorie dense. Because again, we're not burning as many calories on the days we're not strength training. We're still going to burn calories, but not as many. And so we work with our body. It's also called carb cycling. And it's just, again, you're watching. Now, when I say carbohydrates, I'm not just talking about fruits and veggies. I'm talking about on the days you're strength training, some people may like pasta and rice and quinoa and these things that are more calorie dense and more starchy, which are fine to eat. But when we're not doing those higher intensity workouts, we want to watch how much starches we're taking in, because it's spiking our blood sugar and we're not using that energy. Okay. So well, I have my notes here. Yes. So I put here, we were created to work and use our body for labor, right? We're meant to move. Training our body for all movement patterns guarantees us a better quality of life, more independence as we age, and longevity. So I don't know about you all, but I had a dad who was in a wheelchair and dead by the time he was like 62, because he did not take care of his body. And I swore I would never be like that. And my goal is to be able to be the 80 and 90-year-olds who go and do this huge Manitou incline here in Colorado. That's like 2,800 stairs, and it goes up 2,000 feet in less than a mile. Like, it's crazy. I did it once. I thought I was going to die. I didn't. Lightning almost got us, but we survived. But that's the idea, is like our bodies are capable of so much, and we only use a fraction of what it physically is capable of doing. So when we test ourselves and we push ourselves and get uncomfortable, we can really see what we're capable of doing. And it's going to allow us to continue to have more longevity and quality of life, because we are training our body for all different things that we can do. And when it comes to your exercise, to your actual intentional training sessions, start small. If you are not in a regular program, if you're not following a program, or if you're just exercising here and there, commit to starting small. Can you do 10 minutes twice a week? And it really is. It's starting small. You want to build that habit first. Same thing in your nutrition, right? We're starting with one focus. So where can you focus in your movement or your strength training, right? Again, start with 10 minutes. Get that habit built first before you add more time or more days. You're like, oh, I got so much more time. No, we're getting in the habit. I don't care if you got 45 minutes you can do, because you can do 45 minutes one day and you're only doing 10 minutes this day, and you're like, oh, I can't do anything now. And then it feels not doable. So just commit. What can you realistically do consistently? Stick to that for 2-3 weeks, and then add to that, whether it's adding another day or adding a little bit more on the time. But again, we want to make this realistic so you can continue to push through and do it. And like I said, 10 minutes, you can get an amazing workout in 10 minutes. You can set a Tabata timer and you can get 3 different Tabatas done in 10 minutes almost. Right? And when you're doing HIIT work, you're not going long for HIIT. You do not want to be going longer than 15, maybe 20 minutes max, because it will spike your cortisol levels. And when our cortisol levels are spiked too often or stay spiked too long, then we go into fight or flight. And then your body's going to hold on to your body fat because it thinks it's in danger. It needs to preserve the energy, and you're not going to lose weight. Okay, so nutrition and fitness are a key component of your weight loss, but so is your hormones. So if we're not seeing like, oh, I know I'm in a deficit and I'm exercising, but nothing's coming off. How's your sleep? How's your stress levels? Are you really de-stressing, or is your mind always going? Then that's indication of, again, your cortisol is being spiked all the time. So we want to make sure we're really looking holistically at our approach. And when it comes to the strength training, like I mentioned, 10 minutes, you want to use, there are 6 basic movements that you want to have in your exercise plan or program. One is a hinge. And a hinge is basically where you're hinging from the hips with a flat back. Deadlift is a good example. A squat, we all know what a squat is. Push up, okay, or a push motion. So a push up is a great one. A chest press. So we want a push motion. We want a pull motion. We want a press motion, okay, and then a plank. So all those positions will hit every movement pattern we do as a human, from our daily activities to what we do in the gym. I always say gym, but I work out at home. So when you use these 6 basic, everything that is done within an exercise program is built off these 6 basic movement patterns. Okay, I like to do crazy movements just because fitness has to be fun, or I'm not going to do it. So I like to make it fun. But again, we stick to the 6 basic movement patterns, and you stick to that consistently, just keep doing it, you're going to have the results. It's going to stay there. And over time, you increase weight, or you might be increasing sets or reps. All these are different ways to keep progressing in your fitness game and keep building more lean muscle. So when we are strength training, protein, it is key. Because again, if we're breaking down the muscle, but we're not getting adequate amounts of protein, we're not going to repair that muscle, and we're going to be skinny fat. Okay. I know women who are barely 100 pounds wet, right? They're tall and skinny, but they have no muscle definition, even though they can back squat 180 pounds. Like they back squat almost twice their weight, but they have no definition. They are not eating in order to support it. You will build strength. Definitely you'll be strong as all get out, but you won't physically see the muscle unless you actually have adequate protein to build the muscle. Okay, so protein is key. Okay, any questions so far? I've been rattling on for a while. So if you have questions, let me know. There's a lot on here. Things I want you to take away is focusing on strength training 2 to 3 times a week if you can, even if it's just 10 minutes. Start with the 2 days. Eat more whole foods than processed with a focus on your protein, right? Move your body. Have a commitment to moving your body. What's that minimum? Right? My minimum is I move my body every day, period. So whether that's a 10-minute walk or a full workout or 10-minute workout, whatever, I move my body every day. That is my minimum for me, because I know I can do that, whether I'm sick or not, usually too. So again, unless I'm on the toilet or vomiting, I'm moving my body. So rarely do I not. And then have that vision, write it out what you want, and really get crystal clear and keep asking yourself, why do I want that? Why do I want that? And really get 5 layers deep, 4 to 5 layers at least, to really get the heart of it, because that is what's going to keep you going and have you focused. And so reading your vision daily and your goals, when you get up in the morning, before you go to bed at night, until they're really etched in your mind, that is going to keep propelling you forward. And once you achieve a goal, you need to write a new goal. Right? And this will help you stay committed, and having that plan in place, right? For a busy day versus your ideal day, right? With that, having that minimum for yourself, and having a minimum in your nutrition, have a minimum for your physical fitness, right? This was how you achieve the 12 to 20 plus pound weight loss and keep it off 90 days. And for those of you who want to map this out for yourself and really have a customized plan that works for you, March 7th, we have our next 5-day workshop, which will take each of these keys deeper, and you're going to map out your own plan. We're going to write it out real time. So each day we're going to take a piece of this, have a training, and have your homework. And where your homework is going to be, you're going to be mapping out that plan for that specific area. And so each day we'll do this. Day 5 is where we bring it all together and you walk away with your own customized plan. So we do this in a small group setting. And, you know, if you think about where will you be 6 months from now, because you had the plan in place and implemented it, right? With the support and accountability. This workshop is something I normally would charge $397 to $597, but it's only $47. I want to see more of my ladies win. I want to see you have the thing and execute it and really have a lifestyle, not a diet, right? Or just a quote unquote plan, but a lifestyle that works for you. So if you are ready to get moving and want some support around getting this in place, you can definitely send me a DM with workshop. I can send you the link, or you can go over to the website, which again, I can send you guys that link. We start March 7th, which I believe is a Thursday. We go Thursday through Monday. The teachings and everything will be recorded, so you'll have the replays. And then you also, on top of that, 5 days, you're going to have, this will be done inside of a private Facebook pop-up group. You will also have an additional 30-day access for support and accountability within that group as you implement this plan. So if questions come up, you feel stuck, you need some support, you have that available for 30 days inside the group.